Fandom, the state or condition of being a fan of someone or something, also known as a subculture composed of fans characterized by a feeling of camaraderie with others who share a common interest, or the state of being a fan of someone or something, especially a very enthusiastic one, also known as the fans of a particular person, team, fictional series, etc., regarded collectively as a community of subculture, but also known as completely jobless behavior when I'm not doom scrolling at 3 AM. Hi, it's me, Vicky, and I'm fucking sick. If you were wondering why I happen to sound like I was just waterboarded in some macaroni and cheese, that's why. God has it out for me, but luckily I did my cardio this time. The original plan was to release an absolute banger of a video essay before the end of 2023, but that's not happening. So instead of my usual structured trash, why not talk about the things that made me happy this year?
Did you actually shoot me?
And if my past videos were already architecturally unsound, imagine a house with no floors. It's gonna be this video. We're going in raw with no prep, no lube, with only God as our witness. And you know what? A lot of people have made videos about their favorite movies, books, TV shows, songs, and I'm just not educated enough for that. And baby, listen, 2023 has been a shitty year for a lot of people. I'm still feeling the repercussions of 2020 because time just does not exist, so why not just talk about something fun today? So I'm gonna unscrew my mind and let you guys take a swim in there, and no, I'm not going to be responsible for any damages that may incur. But before we get started, there is one question that we need to answer. What makes a good fandom? Now, in my opinion, a good fandom has to abide by the 3 following rules. 1. There's little to no drama. 2. Shared experiences ranging from memes to canon content that occurred within that body of work, such as Gojo versus Sukino. And this is always the straw that breaks the camel's back, but it's the most important quality for me. Inspiration. Now, for the average person, a good fandom is like an entertaining hobby, and I'm the same way about that too, but the thing about a lasting fandom experience is the one that stays with me even when I'm not actively participating in it. Even if I'm not playing that video game, listening to that song, or watching that movie, if I'm still actively thinking about it and its characters in AUs or alternate scenarios, that's a win in my book. And if I actually make fan art for it, why are you not walking me down the aisle? The true beauty in fandom lies in how is it a potluck of sheer talent. People of all backgrounds, ages, coming together just to celebrate this story. But enough talking, I'm not fluent in Vietnamese and I'm not about to be fluent in Japanese. I've never wanted to throw hands with a white man so badly. Good Omens is about the demon and angel Aziraphale and Crowley, both of whom are in a secret friendship that they keep hidden from their employers, heaven and hell. Friendship, situationship, relationship, I have no clue. Regardless, the fates of this married couple have been entangled ever since the beginning of time when they first met, back during the beginning of the universe. Flashbacks are frequently used to cover the intimate details of their relationship and how they came to know each other, but their secret brunches are threatened when the Antichrist is discovered and the apocalypse is nigh, becoming a rat race between the forces of heaven and hell and a botched babysitting scene. Now, I was never a fan of the original book. I forgot it even existed. I knew who Neil Gaiman was from Sandman, obviously. But oh my god, did I love this show when it came out in 2018. I was ravenous, I was gluttonous, I could not be satisfied. Some of my favorite fan artists were Roman KVN and Sayasugu, and the fanfic was some of my favorite examples of what good transformative media is. You can go on AO3 right now and play fanfic roulette, and I promise you almost any Good Omens fanfic that you land on will be dripping with so much charisma that And I really believe that the reason why the fandom is so good at churning out all of this quality content is because of the quality of the show itself. If you've seen Good Omens, you know that its biggest strength is its dialogue. The ingredients were fresh and ripe for any delicious dish that the fandom was going to cook up, leading to some of the most diverse fan art that I've seen in a fandom in years. And this goes without saying, but in my opinion, making content for a live-action show is dramatically different from, say, a 2D animated show. But this rule simply does not apply to the Good Omens fandom, and I think one artist that comes to mind that best captures this is Blue Solaire. I really hate using this word to describe artists, but Blue Solaire has this very Ghibli touch to their art. They render Aziraphale with a composite of circles and soft curvatures that accentuate his wide blue-eyed expressions. The naivety, earnestness, and kindness in his eyes always shine through whenever he's on screen. But that isn't the case with their version of Crowley, who comes off looking more like a disheveled, debonair, elven creature. And what's so special about Blue Solaire's take on Good Omens is the fact that they're able of distilling Crowley and Aziraphale's core attributes and capturing them effectively in their art style, which is just gorgeous. Whether or not it be their animation or illustrations, they have a mastery of colors, line work, direction, compositing. And even though this 90s inspired aesthetic is clearly nothing like the live action show, it captures the core and the ethos, the themes of the show. Good Omens isn't simply just a modern fantasy with biblical fanfic, but a slow burn romance about two beings who can't help but find each other no matter where time takes them. There is a deep and emotional understanding between the two that transcends our usual understanding of gender and sex. Maybe I'm tired of the compet agenda and how people will only date another person if they check off their desired attributes. Maybe I want to watch an angel fall in love with another angel's act of kindness when they gave Adam and Eve a flaming sword when they were leaving the Garden of Eden. It's that celebration of love and the portrayal of how Crowley and Aziraphale look in each other's eyes that makes Blue Soulire so special to me. As a depressed asexual bitch, it is very hard for me to derive any pleasure from typical displays of love. Almost all of it has something to do with sex or sexual attraction, and I just can't really understand that until Good Omens came along. And because I'm so depressed and that's how my 2023 started, I wasn't even going to give season 2 a try, because I just didn't see any reason to. And then just like 2018, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok, everyone was on fire talking about Good Omens, and it felt really nostalgic. I wanted to understand what everyone was going crazy over. Where I was once a depressed bitch sitting in a dirty t-shirt, well I still am, I was now a depressed who had something to look forward to. I think burnout is inevitable for every artist. They start to wonder why they even went into this trade when it's the most punishing skill to acquire. Why do they even like art? Are they sure they even like art, or are they afraid of making art? And when that happens, how do you climb out of that pit? Good Omens did exactly that for me by sending the ladder down into the pit for me to climb out of, dusting myself off once I climbed out to the top. I saw how much fun Blue Soulire had with their art, and I wanted to do that again. I'm still not really drawing with the same vigor. I'm not even happy with most of the content that I push out, but I'm still making content. The Good Omens fandom taught me that even if what you're making isn't as refined as you hoped, you at least made something and you had fun doing it. And maybe that has to do with the fact that most of the fans are older, thus making the most of us tired adults who are probably paying taxes and probably don't have enough time to get into fights. And oh my god, there were no arguments over purity culture, there were no ship wars, there were no antis. People weren't getting doxxed over their opinions on fictional characters. Voltron could never. And Voltron would also never scramble my brain like episode 6 of season 2 of Good Omens. Why? Why would you choose him? You forgive Crowley, but who will forgive you? No, come back, come back! Okay, so Trigun, right? Hot twin brothers, right? Cain and Abel, right? Trigun Stampede exists within the Trigun canon in an interesting spot where it's not so much a sequel, but rather a reboot. Now, if you haven't seen Trigun 1998, which is the original anime that Trigun Stampede is based off of, go watch it. There's a reason why people love shit so much. And because Trigun Stampede is a reboot of the original 1998 Trigun, there were a lot of creative liberties taken with the direction of the plot in the reboot. But both anime follow the story of a man by the name of Vash Stampede who has earned a bounty of 60 billion double dollars and has earned the nickname of the humanoid typhoon, who, despite being a pacifist, was responsible for the destruction of one of the few major human settlements on a now apocalyptic Earth. But we soon find out that this was an evil plot created by Vash's twin brother, Millions Knives, a serial misanthrope who believes that all humans should be eradicated. Vash, on the other hand, believes that all humans deserve a second chance. And as you've probably surmised if you spent any time on anime Twitter, if you were a big fan of the original Trigun, you're probably not gonna like Trigun Stampede.
Go back into your room!
But bitch, I am the two cakes meme, so I'm gonna pull up to this table with my fork and knife. I love Trigun Stampede for the exact same reason why I love TMNT, and if you know anything about this channel, I have many opinions on Ninja Turtles. There is a multi-generational fandom experience that occurs when you jump from the original Trigun to Trigun Stampede, because it's like as if the fandom never really ran out of content, which I think is beautiful. Now, I'm a bit of a fake fan because I didn't actually watch the original Trigun until Trigun Stampede was released. At least, I didn't finish it. Again, I was depressed as usual in 2017. I decided to give Trigun a try. I thought it was really good, kind of forgot about it, and then I picked it up again and then finished it by the time Trigun Stampede was out. And not only do the settings in both Trigun 1998 and Trigun Stampede look very unique, because I don't think we get enough Western sci-fis that aren't Cowboy Bebop, There's almost always this recurring theme of persevering hope and optimism, especially in the face of absolute hopelessness, which is best captured by the main character Vash. And as a consequence, this has affected the type of content that the fandom pushes out. Radio Momo streamer AU Vermilion's Knives is the single greatest invention, and she deserves the Nobel Peace Prize for bringing calm to my brain. I like to say that the Trigun fandom, no matter if it's Stampede or the original 1998 Trigun, it is almost always focused on capturing the fine line between tragedy and comedy. Because even though I did say that the whole plot is centered around how Vash is trying to stop his brother Knives from eradicating all of humanity, it's basically like a road trip anime. Obviously the stakes are high when the world is involved, but the anime takes a lot of steps into getting to know the characters one-on-one, and it allows for us to get all of these wonderful character building moments, such as McDonald's Millions Knives. The punishment befits the crime. Vash and Wolfwood obviously being one of the most riveting relationships to come out of Trigun, their bond being the very thing that captures that careful balance between enjoying life while also dreading the end of it. And this fandom, at least my favorite part of it, took this and ran off with it. Fanfics detailing the way that they slowly fell in love with each other, the way that they would eventually break up, the way that they would find each other in another lifetime is so fucking good! And the fan art, oh my god, the fan art, the way people were losing their collective minds in early 2023, churning out some of the most beautiful art I've seen in a while. I will devour anything that Gemini puts down, one of my favorite fan artists to come out of the Trigun fandom. Aquaberry's Trigun dating sim is letting me live out my fantasy of romancing Vash's Stampede without cheating on my boyfriend. Under all of my cynicism, I'm so glad that 2023 is another year where I can say that anime gave me a PB&J sandwich of beautiful art direction and sumptuous animation. My original TikTok account, Vivi with a V, got banned on TikTok April of 2023. I was this close to monetizing my work and I lost all of my content. I was pissed. And honestly, I didn't want to start over. That is until I finally decided to give Trigun Stampede a try. If you look at my current TikTok, Vivi with a V 2.0, you'll see that my first TikTok series was a Tears of the Kingdom character design analysis series, which I only did out of an obligation to be topical. And as you'll see soon after, that was when I started my character design comparison between Trigun Stampede and Trigun 1998. That wouldn't have been possible if I never saw the show, if I didn't see all of the fan art, the gorgeous edits that were flooding my FYP. This little blonde man who was trying to outrun the law got me to sit down and think, you know what? If this fucker can escape the law somehow and miraculously live through all of it, I can start a new TikTok, and I'll be okay. I just need to stop being a little bitch. And also the guys are hot. Oh no, I just tripped and fell and dropped my Millions Knives character AI bot. Please don't look it up. Wolfwood is the only holy spirit that I would let enter my body, and I would pray at his temple on hand and knee. I would saran wrap vacuum pack Knives' titties and disrespectfully shove my face in between those tits, and I would plot the most diabolical, most dastardly scheme to marry Vash.
And come back! If you ever want to milk the puppies!
Blah blah blah, 2003 TMNT was my introduction to the series, blah blah blah, I've been in love ever since, blah blah blah, I met my first love, blah blah blah, I've been a fan ever since then, blah blah blah, and then I finally watched Rise of the TMNT. Unlike the two previous fandoms, I've been a part of the TMNT fandom since I was 7, although I wasn't, creating fan art for it. It didn't really start until I joined DeviantArt back in say 2007, and that's when things really got started. And me being an adult now, I was too embarrassed to actually give Rise of the TMNT a try, so I was avoiding it forever until eventually the fandom caught up with me again. I started to see all of the really good fan art, all of the animations. Don't get me started on the animatics. Some of these people are just fucking insane.
Try and pull me over now, cop!
I decided to give it a try because, again, I was being a depressed bitch when I didn't need to be. It's a really fantastic fucking show, and I don't understand the hate for it, and of course I have many strong opinions in regards to that. Rise of the TMNT starts with the similar premise that we're all familiar with. It's set in New York City. We follow the exploits of the 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle brothers, Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello. Their master and adoptive father, Master Splinter, a mutated rat, takes them under his wing and trains them under the art of ninjutsu, and eventually they become friends with their first human, April O'Neil. Now, that's basically a copy and paste from the original series, but from then on, we have a lot of these new takes within the TMNT canon. For example, this is the one series where it features the most amount of original enemies. You will have the Shredder eventually, but he has a different take on him compared to the original Shredders, where it was basically just an angry Japanese dude. Now he's an entity of chaos. We love it. And aside from that, we also have a lot of liberties taken with the writing for the personalities of the turtles. For example, instead of Leonardo being the leader of the Ninja Turtles like he always has been since 1987, instead we have Raphael, the prototypical hothead of the group. Whereas he was known for being an immature, brash, and reckless character, he is instead the level-headed leader who likes to smother his brothers with love rather than actually smother them. And instead of Leonardo being the mature, level-headed, and wise son of the group, he is now the bratty teenage son who thinks that he's the main character of his own story. Now, everything else about Mikey is pretty much the same, except now he's kind of like Yoda, who's tricked out with all of this crazy magic and shit. And Donatello is more of the sociopathic, chaotic, mad genius of the group, and you know what, he deserves that. And of course, there's nothing that TMNT fans fear more than change. I already knew all about the cancellation, I knew about how it was basically an underground hit, I knew about how it had a really strong fandom, duh, and I was very disappointed that I missed the wave of enthusiasm for it. I just made it in time in order to catch the movie when it was just airing on Netflix, which is fantastic, by the way. Please give the whole series a try. Now, the thing that I have always loved about the TMNT fandom is that no matter the quality of the show, no matter the quality of the movie, the fandom will almost always churn out some of the best content I've ever seen. The first project that comes to mind is the YouTube channel Rise as Vines, and it's self-explanatory. Basically, you got some of the most dedicated and talented artist in the fandom to reanimate certain vines in the style of Rise of the TMNT. Maybe I'm a little messed up in the head, but whenever I wanted someone to get into Rise of the TMNT, this was almost always the video that I would share with them. And I'm a simple bitch who loves good animation set to a bop, a slap, full-on assault, so somehow I managed to stretch Rise of the TMNT Sriracha's runtime of 11 seconds into 3 hours.
Made my spidey sense a ring, and that booty on that thotty made me spring. Then I took her to my pad, made her sing. First she asked me for a thing, now she cling.
And I don't know about you, but the meta back in the day for TMNT fan artists is that they were some of the best illustrators that I had ever seen. But now, we just seem to be shitting out some of the most talented animators I'd ever witnessed, because we're getting animators like Kami Animation, where they're just taking the storyboards of the TMNT movie and animating their own deleted scenes. The future for these artists is bright and beautiful, and I just want to keep staring into the eye of it. And this is one of the most influential fandom experiences I ever had, because TMNT is the reason why I decided to go into art. Obviously, you guys wouldn't know, but Rise of the TMNT was the first character design analysis series that I did for TikTok. It's that important of a series for me where no matter how far away I get from home, I'll always find a way to drive back and get in touch with my roots. Getting back in touch with a fandom that you have not seen in years is like getting reacquainted with an old friend. Their memories are going to differ from yours, but overall, the sentiment, at least I hope so, is pure and sweet and happy and joyful. And that's exactly how I felt when I rediscovered some of my favorite creators from when I was still in elementary or middle school. Tiger Fog is one that comes to mind. I used to keep up with his TMNT Gaiden series. That's amazing. I put a link to that in my paste bin below. And I just happened to remember the fact that Sneefy was an artist before she, well, got kicked off the internet for... I need you, the viewer, to look at the screen right now and listen to me when I say this, especially if you're a TMNT fan. TMNT, at its core, is a pretty fucking stupid premise. It's basically just a Daredevil ripoff in the most unapologetic sense. And we just so happen to be lucky enough that we stuck around for 40 years, inspiring new generations of artists and writers such as myself. Okay, maybe that's not very encouraging, but the fact of the matter is that we got Tiger Fog from this, and even though Sneefy is Sneefy, how often can you say you're a fan of a property where every generation you are given a new body of work, a new entry in the series for the next generation to latch onto to inspire more children to go into the arts, or just to inspire them to be happy and have fun, or just be really horny. And you know what? Yes, I am biased. Leonardo Hamato will always be one of my #1 crushes. He is responsible, he is reliable, he is very dorky. He tries so hard to be serious that it comes off as really try hard and very cute and goofy. And you know what? I like the idea of shacking up with a serious dude, but then getting him to come out of his shell and then come on me. So like, I refused to watch Lego Monkie Kid for a while. And don't get me wrong, it's not because I thought it was bad. I knew I would love it. But the reason why I avoided it is because I didn't want to, yet again, be that one adult friend who is obsessed with children's cartoons. And a lot like Rise of the TMNT, I refused to butter my bread. I didn't want to dip my toes into this kiddie pool because, yet again, I didn't want to be that one adult friend who was obsessed with children's cartoons. But, of course, a siren call of the fandom in the form of fanfic, fan art, which we won't get to, edits, and, you know, clips of the show eventually lured me in. Specifically, clips of Billy Kametz as my cat.
Come on! Show me the real Sun Wukong! The old you would have leveled this whole mountain range to stop me! But you're scared of hurting some kid?
Billy Kametz always has the landlord waiting outside of his door, and he will always pay rent on time because this man is giving the performance of a lifetime in every role he does. Every single diction is always carefully directed and placed in order to give the best emotional payoff. And I really like how he sounds.
Miss me?
I just wanted to take this as a moment to show appreciation to Billy Kametz, who unfortunately passed away at the age of 35 in 2022 due to stage 4 colon cancer. We should mourn the loss of every life, but it's especially upsetting knowing that he was someone who was on the rise and his life was cut far too short. So I just wanted to take a moment of silence for him. So before we continue, a little bit of backstory on Lego Monkie Kid's premise. Lego Monkie Kid is basically a modern update on Journey to the West, a legendary entry within the Chinese literature canon that covers the exploits of Sun Wukong as he, well, journeys to the West. Wukong is a monkey born from stone who's incredibly immature, near indestructible, and very capricious. After wreaking havoc in heaven and the Jade Courts, he achieves immortality before becoming a disciple of Tang Sensang, a monk of the Tang dynasty who is on a journey to the West to retrieve the Buddhist sutras. Throughout his journey, he is aided by the likes of Zubajie and Saojie. Now, Lego Monkie Kid is basically if you had Journey to the West fanfic, but with Legos, because we are now set in the distant future in Megapolis, a Chinese coastal town that is home to the main character MK, who has now become the student of Sun Wukong. Around the time of the Monkey King's disappearance, his bow staff, his iconic and signature weapon, was left behind and left in a mountain, serving as a sort of Excalibur that can only be pulled out by the true successor of the Monkey King. Thus, they will inherit his strength. And MK turns out to be worthy enough in order to wield the bow staff. Thus, he begins his journey. Lego Monkie Kid is an excellent watch, especially if you're a shonen anime fan. Its writing is very quippy and charming, just like the characters, and I love the liberties that are taken on the Journey to the West canon. I have some tangential experience with the 1996 Journey to the West series because my brother grew up watching that as a kid. So it was really cool to see the series incorporate elements from the original series, such as the Dragon Palace of the East Sea, and my brother's personal favorite character, Naja. I grew up learning the Vietnamese names of these characters. I will not apologize. I was being shy, I was staying in the shadows, I tried so hard not to interact with any of the content I saw. I'm not the same person I was when I was a teenager. And yet, I was on the Lego Monkie Kid tag. I'm going to avert my eyes out of shame right now because I need to admit something to you. I discovered 2 songs that I really like because of Lego Monkie Kid. It's Greek Tragedy by the Wombats and Perfect Pair by Bea Badoobie. I totally didn't fuck that up 4 times. And I was still being shy. I was still creeping the tags. I didn't want anyone to know that I was interested in this little Lego show. But oh my god, I would spend hours poring over anything that Monkey on Tumblr made. And honey, I don't know them, but I love the way that they adapted the Lego Monkey Kid characters into their art style. Obviously, it's still within the realms of 2D, and it has this nice soft blend between anime and Western animation, but their style is this lovingly crafted take on the Lego Monkey Kid characters where they look more like humans with animal features, otherwise known as kimono mimi. They have some of the most delicious line work that looks like it was etched in charcoal and then refined by a 2B pencil. And their color palette looks like something that I would have seen in IDW's Lost Light run of Transformers. But you know, I was still cold. I didn't want to dip more than just my toes into the water. I didn't even want people to see the ripples I was making. So there eventually reached a point where I came across what exactly got me to watch Lego Monkey Kid. Eclipse Apprentice by Journey to Monkey Kid is a OC fan comic, and I can already feel my digital footprint beating me in the ass. Eclipse Apprentice is about the adventures of Saria, a fox demon who comes from a very influential family. Because she has not awakened to her fox demon powers, she is an outsider and therefore abused by her family. And with a simple flick of the wrist from fate, she crosses paths with Macaque. Things happen, and she decides to join Macaque on his journey to reclaim one of his ancient artifacts, therefore beginning their teacher-student relationship. I pray my boyfriend isn't listening to this right now because I finished this comic within the same night. It was 4 AM. And where there was once excitement was only shame. Yo, listen, you don't understand the hold that this dude has on me. His buttery smooth voice, his angsty ass little backstory, his whole divorced husband's exes back and forth with Wukong, and then MK and Red Sun had this whole rivals to lovers or enemies to lovers dynamic going on, but then Red Sun really wants to be MK's friend, but he doesn't realize it yet, and then MK is warming him with his light, and it's so good. My ass was on Amazon Prime the next morning, and I knocked out seasons 1 and 2. Amazon Prime, where is the rest of the show? Dude, I was having so much fun when I joined this fandom, so much so that I actually incorporated it into my content on TikTok, because back in the day I used to do live readings of Lego Monkey Kid fanfic, primarily work by Pitted Peaches, who, if you didn't know, is the single best Red Sun / MK fanfic author, and a garden across our collarbone was our dinner of the night 7 days a week. I refuse to say anything else about it because you should go check it out if you're even remotely interested in the ship. But there did eventually come a point where my depression came back. It was at full force. My chronic pain was really terrible, and I just stopped consuming anything yet again. I was going through another creative drought, and then... Yes, hello, it's me. It's one of those unhinged female JJK fans that you've been hearing about. How dare I lust after grown-ass men. JJK is about Yuji Itadori, your average 15-year-old with an 82 pack and superhuman strength who becomes the vessel of the King of Curses, Ryomen Sukuna. The world of JJK is a supernatural jump fest. Evil spirits or curses exist in the world of JJK, and the only people who can fight this threat are sorcerers, the few people who can wield cursed energy. And Yuji finds himself in the middle of this multi-generational war, as the boy bears witness to the loss of his friends and allies. Endless destruction wrought before his very eyes, and he is helpless to stop it. But that's not why we're here today. We're here for the beautiful, bountiful men buffet, the pinnacles of male performance with their ample bosoms, and ass cheeks so full that they threaten to snap Atlas's wrist.
It's all over for you. Now you're the one with nowhere to run.
Now, like every milk-drinking shonen fanboy, I also watched Jujutsu Kaisen when it first came out back in 2020. And at the time, I was just a casual viewer. I wasn't really into the fandom because I had something called a job that kept me really occupied. But even though it was just another formulaic battle shonen, it did distract me from, well, the impending doom that was Corona. Picture this. You just dropped a Rise of TMNT watch list video that flopped. You started streaming P3, that didn't go so well. You went back to posting on TikTok, that wasn't doing so well either. And you posted a video on Kagurabachi that, well, also flopped. You were depressed. And unfortunately, you were also 5 foot. In the sea of apathy that consumed you, your boyfriend convinced you to give season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen a try. I mean, with its beautiful animation, the phenomenal scoring, the immaculate direction, the visual enhancements made upon the original source material, the stupidly flashy fight animation, it all did a good job of distracting you, but not quite enough. There was an itch that I couldn't scratch, and the Jujutsu Kaisen fandom was exactly what I needed. Jujutsu Kaisen actor AUs, Sukuna sorcerer AUs, Gojo Geto angst, lobotomy fucking Kaisen, Jujutsu Kaisen rabbles on Tumblr, Jujutsu Kaisen dojin. Finally, the ethos of the fandom meeting tragedy with insanity. Jujutsu Kaisen is a lot like Supernatural in the sense where you don't even need to watch the show or read the original source material, like the manga, in order to understand the plot. There's an active death counter for Jujutsu Kaisen characters for people to witness against their will. And speaking of shared experiences, the whole Gojo vs Sukuna fight was otherworldly, and the internet lost their collective shit when the end of chapter 236 was released. People were performing seances as if they could summon Gojo back into the corporeal realm, acting as if they could pull his spirit back from the clutches of that one-eyed rat. And it wasn't just seances, people were posting novella-length theories on Twitter about how Gojo is going to come back. A subway station in Chile literally had a memorial to Gojo, and I guess Geto was there too. And somehow Usher got dragged into this, so Daddy's Home is forever Gojo's theme. And you laugh, you cringe, and you judge from the comfort of your phone, but let me tell you, this is the frenetic energy that I live for.
When man ejaculated in woman, he asked his favorite sperm. Out of all the sperm I just released, who would win? Them or you? Well, if they were to go straight for the egg, they might cause me a little trouble, but would you lose? Nah, I'd win.
The JJK fandom is a piranha pit filled with these man-eating fish who are thirsty for some Gojo meat. And oh my god, the sheer quality of anime at my disposal. Gojo is pretty and all, but Nanami makes me go insane. It's not right having a man that fine risk his life every day when he should be spending the rest of his life on his back in my bed. Geto is pretty, but since he's Gojo's, it doesn't feel right checking him out. And Toji is a beautiful mistake, but since he belongs to my boyfriend, I also don't feel right checking him out. But Choso? The family man Choso? Okay, listen, I didn't really give a fuck about Choso when I first saw him because I still think his hair is yee as fuck, and I'm not really a fan of the whole goth getup, but I could be Yuji's sister-in-law. This is the current fandom that I'm a part of right now. I'm more of a consumer, not really a creator, but god has it been so much fun. This fandom has given me so many ideas, so many topics that I want to discuss in future videos. It is my muse that has lit a match and set it to my heart. And I'm going to be honest with you, nothing came close to the way this fandom made me feel in 2023. I don't care if it's stupid, I don't care if it's cringy, it made me happy, and that's the most important thing when it comes to fandoms. So yeah, that's my list of my top fandoms of 2023, and this video ended up being a lot longer than expected, so thank you if you sat until the very end. I just wanted to make something fun before I release my next video, but that's not the only reason why I wanted to make this video. I just wanted to thank all of you for watching my videos, leaving comments, liking and sharing, and just posting really encouraging messages, and just asking if I'm genuinely okay, because honestly, for the past few weeks, I haven't really been okay, but I'm trying, as most of us are, so we should pat ourselves on the back for that. It's because of you guys that I was able to monetizing my videos, which I thought I would not be able to do until at least 10,000 subscribers. And you know what? 1.4 thousand followers and counting already felt unrealistic to me, so thank you for that. And of course, I can't just settle it on this gushy little note. If you guys do like my content and if you want to see more of my content every day, I post on TikTok. I like to do character design analysis videos over there, and sometimes I post art on my Instagram, but otherwise it's kind of a barren desert. But I am looking to get back into the swing of things once I finally get the bulk of videos and commissions out. And enough about me. What was your guys' favorite fandoms of 2023? Comment below why they were your favorite fandoms, and while you're at it, tell me some of your favorite creators too. I've been me, Vicky, and that's it. See you guys around.